Hi, welcome to Salt City Knits. I'm Emily, and this is a podcast all about my making life. Thank you so much for joining me. Today is Saturday, April 27th, and it's a gray, rainy day, but we have a break in the weather enough for me to record without noise. So that is great. Thank you again for all of you who have sent me such kind messages and so much support to Richard and I in all of our endeavors. We are just so grateful for all of our wonderful viewers and friends. And yeah, I'm excited to be back. Richard is not here with me today. He is at a political convention today. And so I am able to, I just decided I'll record. I'll get a minute in without him. I love having him with me, so it's great. But, you know, it's also fun to do kind of things the way I used to. So first off, for those of you who are new or who don't know where to find me, you can find me on Ravelry and on Instagram as Salt City Knits and on Instagram as the Yarnbrary, or sorry, just Yarnbrary. And also all of my yarn and patterns are available at yarnbrary.com. So today I have a little bit of life update, and then I have some finished objects. I have a couple finished objects, some works in progress, and then some shop news at the end. So yeah, thanks for joining me. Let's just dive in. So, okay, life update. What have we been up to? It's been a couple of weeks since we recorded. We've just been working a lot, and it's been really good. Our Commonwealth school, so many of you have heard of this, but we homeschool and we're involved in something called a Commonwealth school. It's kind of like a cross between a co-op and a private school. And we just wrapped up for the year. It's a supplemental program to homeschooling, so it's not like our entire schooling. And so we usually end a little earlier than most like public schools do. And so we are done for the year now, and we only have 1 year left, which is crazy to me. We have been part of this school for, I want to say, almost 13 years. Yeah. And next school year is our last year. And then Abby will be done. My baby is going to be done. It's just crazy. We've been homeschooling since my oldest son, Ethan, he was 3. We weren't like official back then because, you know, he wasn't technically school age, but that was when we decided to homeschool. And so while we have used some supplemental programs and even some charter schools, mostly for Ethan, we've primarily just homeschooled forever. And he just turned 28. So 23 years of this. Yeah, it's an adventure. We love it though. So, but I have been mentoring a class this last school year about worldviews, different worldviews throughout the world, and principles of government and the Supreme Court. So I wrapped that up, and Abby is done now. And this coming week, I'm so excited for her. She joined a choir called Millennial Choir and Orchestra. And I'm going to put a link down below to their YouTube channel because they are phenomenal. I mean, so just breathtakingly good. Anyway, and their spring concert is this coming week. So we have that coming up. And let's see, what else did we do? We celebrated Ethan's birthday last Sunday. We just had dinner, nothing super like fancy or exciting, but yeah, we've just been kind of having normal life. So it's been really good. Yesterday, we went up to the Great Basin Fiber Arts Fair, and Richard and Ethan and I went, and my mom came up for part of it too. And we spent several hours there and went around to different booths and just really enjoyed that. We were looking at it a lot through like the eyes of vending there next year. And so, you know, we were kind of doing a lot of planning and considering, and that was really great. And mostly I just talked to amazing people. So got to see a lot of my friends from my knitting group and just talked to some other dyers. And it was really, really great. I got to meet some viewers that were there. So that was super great. And I wish I would have gotten pictures. The only picture, let's see. Oh, I got a tiny little snippet of a video that I'm putting in my Patreon. And then I got a picture of Mary. So this is Mary with her Albion Basin shawl. Oh my goodness, it is beautiful. It has a lot of silk in the yarn. And so it's this drapey dream. Huge. It's a big, gorgeous shawl. And so beautiful knitting, Mary. Absolutely love it. Yeah, so that's what's been going on. Let's just dive into finished projects. Yeah? Okay. What do I have? These two. Okay. So the first one I finished, I showed in progress last time, and it was just the beginnings of this shawl. And here is the finished design. I'm calling this the Stansbury Shawl. And it is designed for using a sock set. So one full skein of yarn and one 20-gram mini in fingering weight. And I love how it turned out. I love this beautiful border. I just love it so much. It's a really nice size for a fingering weight shawl. It looks nice. Here, let me put my camera down a little bit so I can show it to you a little better. So I think it just looks so pretty on, and it knits up quite quickly. The thing that takes the most amount of time is this lacy border, but even that isn't a ton because it's not a huge shawl. It's not like Albion Basin where it's a really big shawl. It's a really nice size. I wore this yesterday when we went to Great Basin Fiber Arts Fair, and I stuck a pin in it right here. I have a shawl pin, and I had a jacket on, and I pinned it right here just to my jacket, and it kept it in place perfectly. That's one of the things I don't always like about smaller shawls is I feel, especially on me, because I'm a bigger girl, like I want it to have enough weight to it to keep it in place. And sometimes I feel like a smaller shawl doesn't stay where I want it, but that little pin just made it so nice. So yeah. So again, this is called the Stansbury Shawl, and it's with Test Knitters right now, and it will be coming out in May. But again, using a sock set. And I used, this yarn is our Handsome Enough to Tempt Me sock set. And I love how it turned out. I knit this with our contemporary sock base. So that is a 2-ply with 400 yards to 100 grams for the full skein and 80 yards to 20 grams for the mini. But I love it. It's so fun. I just think it turned out so pretty. And now I want to knit 10 more of them because again, it's a pretty quick knit, and yet it has all the fun of that really pretty knitted on lace border. So that is a joy. Isn't that fun? I need to do my official photos for this. Right now, the pattern with my test knitters is just with like snapshots that I took. And so I need to do our official photos. But most of the people who are knitting this, I think, are doing it with a light color with a slightly darker mini. But Sina, who is one of my test knitters, is doing it with a little bit darker color here and the light color for this section. And so I'm really excited to see that. So that was really fun. So Stansbury Shawl coming in May. Let's see, my other finished project are a pair of socks for Richard, and I have not blocked these. I don't always block socks. These are a waffle stitch sock. And I don't always block socks. If they're lacy or really cabley, I'll often block them. But like these are just gonna block out as he wears them, and then we wash them, you know. So I just used a waffle stitch, which means for like rows 1 and 2, you knit every stitch, and then rows 3 and 4, you knit 2, purl 2. So I did a 2x2 rib, and then I did that waffle stitch for the leg. And then because this yarn, this is Deeper Magic, which is one of our Narnia colors. Because this yarn was doing this awesome spiral, I did not want to interrupt that. So I just knit the leg as long as I thought I was going to need it. And then I put a stitch marker in it and started only doing that patterning on the front of the foot, and then just doing stockinette on the back. And then put my toe in, and then I did an afterthought heel, because I didn't want to do like a heel flap and gusset and mess with the way that yarn was doing that cool spiral. So I did an afterthought heel. But this is one where you have to definitely know where you're going to put your heel in advance so you can switch, because you don't really want waffle texture on the sole of your foot, right? I like how that looks though. And then for the toe and the heel, I used our Verne colorway, which is one of our author's colors. So here's the other sock. I did 68 stitch count. So here it is, just like front with a little heel flap, or heel, sorry, afterthought heel. Here it is from the side. It's swirled super nicely together. So this is what Deeper Magic looks like, all in a ball. And then this is our color Verne, which is one of our author colors that I used for the contrast. And I like how those look together. I think they look really nice. I knit this on our biography sock base, which I think is absolute heaven. It's so dreamy. It's so nice and soft, but hard wearing, plump and squishy. It's got a really good amount of like bounce to it, if that makes sense. It's not the drapiest of yarns. So if you want something that's like got a lot of drape, you know, you're going to want something with more, like with some silk in it or some alpaca. But if you want just squish and cozy, oh, it's so nice. So I knit these 68 stitches. And here's a little trick that I do. I'm sure this is not anything, I mean, this is probably fairly common sense. I don't like, if I can avoid it, I mean, I'll do it, but it's not my favorite to start my needle with a purl stitch. I really like it if my first stitch on my needle is a knit stitch. And I work on magic loop primarily when I'm knitting socks. And so I really want the first stitch on each of my, you know, I'm saying each of my needles, but like, you know, your front needle, your back needle, I want it to be a knit stitch. But if I'm knitting 2x2 rib, and you have to remember there's 2x2 rib going through that whole sock, 68 stitches doesn't work out to be even. You know, if I put 34 stitches on the front of the foot and 34 on the back, I will end up having to start my second needle with purl stitch. So I just don't do that. I just put 32 stitches on the front and 36 stitches on the back. That way they're still divisible by 4. So I still start each needle with a purl stitch. The big difference is you have to stick a stitch marker in there to remind yourself, so when you get to your heel, you don't accidentally work your heel on the wrong number of stitches. And so at that point, I kind of reorient those 2 stitches so that they're on the proper side. And so that meant that once I got to the foot, I was doing my knit 2, purl 2, knit 2, purl 2, but then I had another knit 2 at the end, and then the back was just knitting straight across. I hope that makes sense. It's all about doing the math and figuring out how to make that work. I really love that afterthought heel. It just fits really nicely, and I'm not a big fan, and I know I've talked about this before, I'm not a big fan of the fit of short row heels. I just don't think they have enough fabric in them for at least the way that my family likes the fit of our socks. And I know lots of people have great success with them, and that's awesome. But for us, they just don't fit well. But if I do an afterthought heel and I work 5, come on, focus up. Here we go. If I work 5 plain rounds before I start my decreases, then it gives me just that extra little bit of fabric that makes them fit really nicely. So there you go. That pair of socks is done, and it's for Richard. You know, I say it's for Richard, but I might just keep it for a shop sample. Actually, I have enough in here. I could make a 3rd sock. I bet I could make a 3rd sock, and then I could still have a shop sample, but Richard could have these. I think he's kind of excited about them, which is fun, because I've said before, he's not a huge fan of wearing hand knit socks, but I think it's different when you've been helping to dye the yarn and he has that kind of, he's got skin in the game, right? Like it's he's got the connection. That's what it is. He's got a connection. So those will be for him. That is what I have finished. I think that's all I have finished right now. I'm really close on one of my projects though, so I'll show that to you next. Okay, I have to show you this bag. Oh my gosh, you guys, I could just die. So Emma Goodright, who is Moo and Mouse on Instagram, and that's her shop name is Moo and Mouse. She makes these beautiful patchwork, quilted, embroidered project bags. Just so beautiful. And she's in the UK, and I don't always buy from the UK. I mean, I have a few, you know, my few like Dandelion and Dogwood, So Sweet Violet, and Lay Family Yarns, you know, those are kind of my people that I will buy from the UK just because of shipping. And I know if you're in the UK, you're feeling the same about US, right? Like it's just more money to purchase. So I've just eyed her bags for years, and they go so fast because they're so amazing. And finally I got up the courage and I said, is there any chance, because we follow each other and comment on each other's stuff. And I'm like, any chance you'd want to do a swap? And she was really excited. She said that she'd wanted to ask me. So that is one of those times where the stars align and everything works out. So we were kind of talking about what each other liked. And in the end, we decided that we both wanted to just be surprised. And so this is the bag. Oh, you guys, I love it so much. This is the bag that Emma surprised me with. Look at this bag. Oh my goodness. Could she have done anything more perfect for me? That top center fabric, that's Jo March. That's Little Women fabric, because she just had a whole Little Women shop update not too long ago, and she had a little bit left. And she did that embroidery with my name and the stitching here and at the bottom. Okay, now look at the other side. Oh, I love it so much. Look at this bow. It's a pin, so I could pin it where I wanted it, but I love it right there. That's also Little Women. I think that's Marmee. And the tea kettles and the floral and this little embroidered heart. Oh my goodness. Okay, not only that, but look at this zipper. It's a double zipper. 2 zippers. How fantastic is that? You can open it exactly where you want it. I love that. And there's little charms on both of the zippers. I'm hoping these are, here, get that to focus in. Focus. There we go. Pretty, pretty charms. It's got this gorgeous wristlet. And then this is the interior fabric. Oh, it's so perfect. Okay. So I immediately put the project that I was working on in this bag, and you're going to see why, because look at how this project matches. Here, I got to take this needle out so it doesn't clatter to the ground. I'm knitting a Sugar House shawl, and I am in the process of doing the bind off. So I am doing the I-cord bind off, which is a super long, a lot of stitches on the needles right now. So that's where I am, but look at that together. Didn't it just have to go together? I mean, the interior fabric along with this, it was made to go together. So yes, anyway, I'm working on this one and I'm binding off. I think by the time I'm doing the I-cord bind off, there's almost 900 stitches on the needles. But this whole pattern, this entire pattern is about like meditative knitting. So you have this whole garter body of the shawl that you work this section with very gentle increases and then very gentle decreases. And so that is very calm and soothing. And then you have to do, you know, the hard part of picking up your stitches along the edge. But it's super easy to pick them up because you're picking up along a garter stitch edge, so you know exactly where to place every stitch. So you pick up all your stitches and you do your increases for your ruffle, and then you're just knitting stockinette. And then you just have your border. So it's definitely like movie knitting. It's so nice. I'm knitting this in 2 of our author colors. This is Burnett, which is just this gorgeous, warm, kind of vanilla cream color. And then this is Bronte, which is kind of the Emily color. Of all the colors that we have, I think that if you looked at this color, you'd go, that's an Emily color. Oh, anyway. So just working on that bind off. And I started the bind off yesterday, last night actually, and I'm about halfway done with it. So it's not horrendous. You would think I-cord bind off, 900 stitches, you're gonna be here for a month. I'm halfway through since last night. So, and I've worked on other stuff too. I mean, that's not the only thing I've done. So of course this ruffle is going to block out so much nicer than what it's looking right now, because it's all kind of crumply and it definitely needs a good blocking, but that's so fun. And this one's such a fun one to wear with that ruffle. So that is that work in progress. And I am definitely playing yarn chicken. This is, I think I'll be fine, but this is how much yarn I have left of my Bronte colorway. Knitting this on contemporary sock as well. But this bag, oh, look at the bow. I love it so much. You have to definitely go check out Emma's stuff. She's amazing. Oh, I better put that needle back in. I like to use a DPN. I'll do that when I'm doing an I-cord bind off, or actually a lot of times just any bind off, or like on my Stansbury shawl when I'm knitting that lace across the bottom. I'll get out a DPN just so I don't feel like I have to wrestle with the whole cord, because I'm just working with a few stitches. And that way it just makes it so much more maneuverable. So that is that project. All right, and then my other, nope, I already showed you those. Those are finished. Another work in progress are these socks. And this I'm knitting on our Swashbuckle colorway. This is contemporary sock. So I've got that going on Swashbuckle, and this is my Fizz sock pattern. It just has these little holes. So my thoughts in this are, it's almost May. Deborah, my sister, Candy Shop Yarns, does a May knit along called Mermay. And it's for anything that could be at all related to anything mermaid. And I'm like, I don't have any mermaid colors, but you know what I do have? I have Swashbuckle, which is, pirates, ships, mermaids. I'm calling that a connection. And I thought, I want to knit up a pair of socks so I can send out pictures, post pictures of that, because we are going to put the colorway Swashbuckle and my pattern Fizz and my Gathering Shells sock patterns. Those are all going to be on sale for the month of May. And so this is like the sample for the photos that I'm doing. And look at that beautiful stitch marker. Isn't that so cute? I love that. So I love how Swashbuckle is knitting up. There it is in the skein. So fun and bright. There's like 5 different colors of blues and greens in there. Or 6, 5 or 6. So yeah, that is another one that I'm working on. And I like this Fizz sock pattern. It's super simple. You just got these little tiny eyelets just to give it some interest. And it reminds me of little bubbles. So that's super fun. I did an extra long cuff on this. I like a really long cuff. So I did 25 rounds for, I like to wear a longer cuff, but I get bored. So 25 rounds is kind of my limit of knitting a long cuff. Let's put it that way. So that is what we have going on there. All right, and then my last work in progress is my Bantam scarf, my Bantam wrap, which is my crochet scarf. And I'm going to show you where I am. I've kind of steam blocked the beginning of it just really quickly so I could show it. And now here I am, and this is where I am in the pattern. And last time I said I was going to do all purples and blues, but I just decided I wanted other colors in it. So yeah, there we go. That's where I am, making little baby progress. I think last time I showed it, I was like right here, and I've just added that much. This is my project that I like to work on when Richard and I watch our show together. So we have been watching, I don't know if I've talked about this before. We've been watching Homestead Rescue on the Discovery Plus channel on Amazon. And it's exactly what it sounds like. It's a reality TV DIY makeover kind of show. The whole idea is that this family, the Rainies, they go to people's homesteads, people that are trying to live off grid, who are really struggling, and they help them. They spend a week there and they do projects and help them to kind of get things up and running. And they look at things like hunting, livestock, gardens, structural issues, water power, drainage, stuff like that. kind of sounds really dry when I describe it like that, but it really isn't. It's super fun. And it's a reality TV show. So, you know, there's lots of like forced drama and things that are trying to look like it just happened spontaneously when you know it's kind of scripted. But we both still really, really love watching that show. So, neither of us will ever watch it without the other one. And so we only managed to get in like 2 or 3 episodes, maybe a week, when there's like 11 seasons of this show. So it's taking us a while to work our way through it. But that's when I work on this. For some reason, that's just like this project, my Bantam project, it goes hand in hand with watching Homestead Rescue. Gotta put my pattern back in there. And so that's part of why it takes me longer to do it. But it actually is really fun because I kind of love it when you have a project that you link to something else. Like for example, when you're going on vacation and you take a project with you to work on your vacation, and forever after, that project reminds you of that trip. Like I worked on my Starflake shawl when we were doing a Pacific Northwest trip. And I absolutely like that. That shawl goes hand in hand with the gorgeous, gorgeous, gorgeous scenery and everything that we saw while we were on our trip. It was like my favorite trip we've ever done in our whole lives. And this wrap is reminding me of spending that time with Richard and watching our show together. And that's really fun for me because I know that that's probably like not a big deal to people, but Richard is not a TV guy and not a movies guy. And I really am. And so he's just never really gotten into watching any like specific show with me. So this is kind of a big thing. Other than like we have Christmas movies that we always watch together as a family, and he's great about that. He really enjoys that tradition and, you know, those kind of nostalgia feelings that you get with watching a Christmas movie. So he does that with us. But in general, like if the kids and I are watching a movie, he's just like, have fun. He goes, does something else. He just doesn't really like doing it. But he really likes watching this with me. That, and then the other thing we've been watching are old Michael Palin travel videos from like the late 80s and early 90s. So outdated, but it's really fun. We've watched Pole to Pole and Full Circle. So Pole to Pole is exactly what it sounds like. Traveling from the North Pole to the South Pole and trying to do it without, I think that one he tried to do it without taking any, I don't remember if that was the case, if you did any planes. I think it was all trying to do everything by land or water. Full Circle is circumnavigating the entire Pacific Ocean. So starting in like Alaska, crossing over to Russia, coming down all through like Japan, China. I mean, I don't remember everywhere exactly where he went, but then all the way down to like Australia and then back up to South America and back up. So I think they went to Antarctica. Yeah. And then the one that started this all is he wanted to watch Around the World in 80 Days, where Michael Palin follows the same kind of route as is described for Phineas Fogg, who took to take in Around the World in 80 Days, the book. But we couldn't find that one online anywhere to watch, to stream. And so I finally tracked down the some DVDs of that series on eBay, and I got those for him for Valentine's Day, but one of them is damaged, and so we haven't been able to watch it yet. So like, if anybody knows of a really good copy of Around the World in 80 Days that they want to send me, just let me know, because I've been trying to find that for Richard. Anyway, it's kind of fun to watch travel shows from 30 plus years ago because the world is so different. And so it's like, there's so many things that you can like, that are still similar. You know, the geography of things is similar, but cultures have changed and methods of travel and communications and obviously styles have all changed. But anyway, it's just really entertaining. So anyway, that was a tangent, but those are the projects that I have in the works right now. My Bantam scarf. Oh, and if I haven't talked to you about this one before, Bantam is a pattern by Deanne Ramsey. And I link all the patterns down below. And I'm knitting or crocheting that with yarn that I got from my Easter Advent swap that I did. So yeah. So let's talk about some shop news. I already mentioned briefly that we're going to have Swashbuckle, Gathering Shells, and Fizz, because it's the bubbles. Those are all going to be on sale for the month of May. So just check my shop and you'll see details, or Instagram, and you'll see the details of that sale there. And definitely join in with Deborah's Mermaid knit along. That's the thing, is that I think it's a make along. It's not just a knit along. You can crochet, you can knit, whatever. But it doesn't have to be super strict. This is something she said. It doesn't have to be super just like focused on mermaids. It can be anything related to mermaids as well. All right, I wanted to show our newest collection of colorways, and this is inspired by one of my favorite books of all time, which I just reread. Oh, you guys, I've been reading so many good books lately, but I just reread The Secret Garden in April. Perfect time of year to be reading The Secret Garden by Frances Hodgson Burnett. Oh, it is one of the best books ever. If you have never read it, please read it. If you have read it, read it again. It's so good. It's so comforting and inspiring and joyful, and just this whole story about about the world asleep at winter and people whose hearts are kind of laying dormant as well, and how they all come back to life. Oh, just gets me in the heart every time. Always cry when I read it. So we have 5 colorways that we've dyed for Secret Garden, and let me show you those. These are our 5 colors. So let me go through them really quickly. Oh, also, if you have ever listened to the music for Secret Garden, the musical, some of these will make you think of those songs. So first off, this is Wick, and I'm showing it here on Contemporary Sock and Biography Sock. I love this. And the word wick in the book describes something that looks like it might not be still alive, but it has life inside it still. And I love that. So we have this beautiful spring green and hints of yellows and golds. Then our next one is Dickon. Dickon is my favorite character in The Secret Garden. And Dickon is this 12-year-old, 13-year-old boy who is a animal charmer, loves gardening, has a connection to all things in the earth, and helps to kind of bring all these things to life. So I love that. So that's Dickon. And next we have Misselthwaite, which is the name of the house, the big, huge mansion, Misselthwaite Manor. Hundreds of rooms, all locked and laying dusty and dormant, and nobody allowed to go in them. Yeah, that's Misselthwaite. And Helen Stewart has a Misselthwaite shawl pattern. She did a collection of patterns some time ago that I believe were Secret Garden. I know at least that one was, but I think the whole collection was Secret Garden themed as well. So Misselthwaite. And then we have Mistress Mary. Mary Lennox is the main character. She gets called Mistress Mary, quite contrary. So this is Mistress Mary. Little flecks of pinks and blues, purples on that purpley base. And then the fifth color is called In the Garden. And the garden is full of all kinds of growing things by the end of the story, but especially the roses. And so this is inspired by the roses. I love it. So those are our colorways that we have for the Secret Garden. And they're available right now on Contemporary Sock and Biography Sock. So Contemporary Sock is our 2-ply 80/20 merino nylon base, 400 yards to 100 grams. And then Biography Sock is 85% extra fine merino and 15% nylon. And it's 437 yards to 100 grams. And I love both of them for different reasons. So again, this one's got a little bit more squish to it, a little bit more elasticity. This one has a little bit more drape to it. This one has a little more texture to the yarn itself, whereas this one's a little more smooth. So it's all about what you're trying to make with it. And I love them both. So in addition to that, I've got Hogwarts Mystery Yarn Clubs. We sent out our April clubs. So I'm going to put a picture right here. If you got it and you haven't opened it yet for some reason, don't look. So here's the picture, which was based on a history of magic. This was our April Hogwarts club. Okay, you can look now. And our May inspiration is Transfiguration Today. So that will be the club for May. And those will ship by May 25th. So the way that our Hogwarts Club works is you just sign up for the month that you want. So if you signed up in April and you want to get May's, you have to sign up again. You only, it's just for 1 month at a time. Got all the author colorways in stock, and I love sending those out to you. Thank you, everybody who's ordering those. And that's all the shop news that I have right now, I think. Yeah. So that is everything that I have for you today. Thank you so much again for joining me. I'm used to saying us now. Joining me today. We'll be back soon. Richard and I will be dyeing up more colorways. I cannot wait to tell you what we are doing for the summer. I can't tell you yet, but I'm giddy with excitement over it. So watch this space for something really fun for that and very nostalgic. And I'll be back soon. I'll talk to you later. Bye-bye.